It is said that the two most important days of your life is the day when you were born and the day you figured out why. Hello friends, I'm Tushar Malani, and in this video I would be summarizing about this book Start With Why, written by Simon Sinek. This book is meant for people who seek to know the core philosophy of communication, advertisement, rationality and marketing. I would be synopsizing this book in four simple ways. First, I'll talk about the golden circle. Second, I'll talk about the limbic brain and how it influences our decision making. Third, I'll talk about belief system and how it influences our choices. Fourth, I'll talk about how to find your why. First, the golden circle. As a child, I was an average student throughout my life. I didn't like reading books and I used to find ways not to study. My parents, my teachers nagged me and had no clue what I would do with my future. I somehow managed to complete my engineering, but I was not inspired by what I did. Until just a couple of years back, I started enjoying the act of reading, got curious and anxious to read. My hunger to read grew, and my perception about reading and learning suddenly changed. It was this time when I realized my why. Only when I figured out why to read, I was able to read and learn more. I was inspired more. So, what was the difference between the earlier me and the new me? The difference lied in the golden circle. My parents, my teachers always used to tell me what to study, sometimes how to study, but nobody spoke about why should I learn, why should I study. This is exactly what golden circle ideology states. It's amazing that 87% of the population think about what and how, but nobody thinks about why. In my case, everyone took the outside in route. It was only when I took the inside out route, my perception towards reading and learning changed. The golden circle states that always start with core. Always start with why, then how, and then what. Always take the inside out route and not the outside in route. It was only when I took the inside out route I was able to read and learn more. I was inspired more. All successful organizations, leaders follow the same pattern while communicating. They always start with why, and then how, and then what. They always follow the golden circle. And that's the reason why we are so inspired by these great companies and these great men. Why talks about core? It speaks about values. It convinces the reason of your existence to the world. Did you know Apple did not invent the MP3 player, nor it invent the technology that became iPod. Still they are credited with transforming the music industry. MP3 player was first invented by Creative Technologies, a Singapore-based company, almost 2 years before iPod was launched. They clearly had the first movers advantage, but still Creative failed. The problem with Creative and the advantage with Apple was how they communicated about their product. Creative advertised it as 5 GB MP3 player, whereas Apple said 1000 songs in your pocket. Creative told what their product was, and Apple said why we needed it. Let's look at another example. In the year 1977, a company named TiVo was grazing into the market. They had an astounding idea. They had developed a remarkable, unique product. They had all the money to market their product, but still the product failed. Look at how they communicated about their product to the mass. We have got a new product. It pauses live TV, skip commercials, rewinds live TV, memorizes your viewing habits and records shows on your behalf without you needing to set it. Now if you notice, they only spoke about what their product was. Let's take the same example and let's start with why. If you are a kind of person who likes to have total control on every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, memorizes your viewing habits and record shows on your behalf without you needing to set it. Did you make out the difference? So friends, remember, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do what you do. What a wonderful line. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. Second, the limbic brain. Now listen to this. The power of why is not a philosophy, it's biology. Scientifically speaking, if you look at the cross section of the brain, our brain is divided into three circles. The outer area is the cortex, which is responsible for your reasoning, your language, etc. The two inner section comprises of limbic brain. The limbic brain is responsible for feelings, memories, and stimulations. It dominates our behavior and decision making. So now, when we communicate starting with what, people can understand vast amount of complicated informations like facts and figures, etc. But when we start communicating with why, we are directly talking to that part of the brain that drives decision making. We make decisions all day long, and trust me, most of them are emotional driven. Believe it or not, we can make decisions with as less as 30% of the information. This means the gut feeling plays the pivotal role as against mere facts and numbers in decision making process. On a lighter note, the gut decision don't happen in your intestine. It actually happens in your limbic brain. Whenever we talk about why, we actually create an association in the limbic brain, and that's the reason the message directly goes to the core, where actual decision making happens. When the decision feels right, we find hard time explaining it. That's because the decision making and the ability to explain those decisions lies in different areas of brain. Third, belief. Why is also associated with belief, and with belief comes trust. When we believe in a product or a service, we go to great extent to add those brands into our life. Why would we share a smile with strangers from our country or community when we meet them in a foreign land? It is because of our desire for the feeling of belongingness. It's an association we make with another person or brand on the grounds of trust. Our feeling of belongingness is so powerful that we will go to great extent, do irrational things, often spend some extra money to have that feeling. That's the reason why some people would stand in queue for hours to buy a new iPhone or buy a Marvel movie ticket. They do it because they want that feeling of being associated with their favorite brand. A strong trust emotion stimulates or drives the decision making process. In simple words, when our limbic brain that craves for the feeling of trust signals an association, we act accordingly. Rightly, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. Likewise, we don't hire people for their skills, we hire them for their attitudes. We hire them because they believe in what we believe. If you hire people with the same belief, they will give their blood and sweat for you. But if you hire people for their skills alone, they will only work for their fat paychecks. Fourth and final, how to find your why. Finding your why is not that easy. In order to gain its momentum, an arrow must be pulled as far as it can in the opposite direction. This is where your why will come from. Why doesn't come from looking ahead. It comes from looking in exactly opposite direction. It comes from looking within. Finding why is a process of discovery, not an invention. There is a difference between running with all your heart with all your eyes closed and running with all your heart with all your eyes wide open. In today's busy world, we all are running in all directions everywhere. It's time we open our eyes. It's time we ask why. My intention about sharing such videos and summarizing such books are A, to take you to the quick run into the book, because most of us are either short of time or not very much fond of reading. And B is to share significant learnings from the book so that you get to know what you should know without reading hundreds of pages. Thank you. Oh, and yes, before liking the channel, please don't forget to comment. And before subscribing the channel, please don't forget to hit the bell icon.